Hey team, how are you guys doing?
Like actually,
how are you doing?
It's a crazy time. This is a new thing for our generation, most people's generation, unless you were alive in 1918 when the Spanish influenza was a worldwide pandemic.
Hi team, I'm Sid.
And I'm Mackie.
For the past 6 years, we've been racing mountain bikes professionally.
And living out of our van.
On this channel, we're sharing those adventures with you.
All of them.
So hit subscribe and join the team. Before we jump into that, we want to acknowledge the fact that we're okay. This hasn't really affected our income, our ability to make a living, our ability to do our thing more or less, so things will obviously be different. That, however, is not true for many, many, many people. So we wanted to take a moment to encourage you guys to join us in pledging to make a weekly donation to your local food bank. We understand if you're not in a position to do that, but those of us who are,
we've been donating to the Taos Shared Table. It's like a local community food bank. You know, if it's $5, great. If it's $50, great. Like, give what you can. Try to help out because there are some people who don't have food right now.
We're recording this on March 25th. I feel like we should say that because who knows what we say in this that will be totally inaccurate in 2 days.
3 weeks ago, we attended the Sedona Mountain Bike Fest.
YouTubers who are posting their Sedona Mountain Bike Festival content this week are kind of getting a lot of crap for that. Everyone's like, this festival shouldn't have happened. And this is definitely a moment of hindsight. It's 2020.
Pretty much everyone was like, well, it's not a ton of people. It's mostly local people.
It's gonna be outside. Seemed like that would be okay. I think it's pretty clear that like if we had known what we found out 2 to 5 days after they would have canceled the festival, we wouldn't have gone. But because of when it was just that perfect moment where it was kind of like, this is going to be bad, but like, it's not bad yet. And I think what we realized within days of that festival is that that virus was probably spreading at the festival. So within a couple of days of Sedona Fest, we all kind of had that realization, like us and a lot of other people who were at the festival, of like, oh crap, like this was a bad time to be around
a lot of people. And people were shaking hands and talking and hanging out. And
because of that, we made the decision along with Tess and Steve, Tess from Dusty Betty and Steve from Hardtail Party. We were staying with them for the festival and kind of talked to them about it. We made the decision to all kind of quarantine together for at least 2 weeks, kind of from the point when we had that conversation, before we went anywhere. So we have been quarantined with Tess and Steve for about 2 weeks at this point. It has been so much fun, actually. Like, we're really, really thankful that they have just opened their house to us and are like, you are okay to stay here as long as you need to. And we've been having a lot of fun in the meantime.
Hi, you. Hi.
You like pot roast?
I got pretty lucky. I only saw one group of people.
If you want to do any more than that, there's no hope. That'll add some. Who's waving at you? Missing all the other flavors. Back in there. Then we do the timing. Ceiling, we want a ceiling and it's cooking. I feel like that pizza already fell off.
Do you think we should put the pot roast in there? I would say the irony, which I think is hilarious, is that social isolation for us has actually involved
more time
hanging out with people more, because normally, if everything weren't shut down, we would be parked out in the middle of nowhere, probably in Moab right now.
Yeah.
And like, we'd be hanging out with just one another. And so it's been this really cool situation for us where we're getting to like hang out with Tess and Steve. Now we feel like we really know them well, and it's just been so much fun. So we actually are having more people time despite the fact that we are self-quarantining. As you guys know who've been watching the channel, we don't have a house. Our main house is a van, and this is a really difficult time to live in a van because pretty much every place that we normally go in the summer or the spring, Moab, Colorado, they're all closed to tourists.
Which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
I do think like we're very lucky in the sense that we will be able to go back to New Mexico. Mackie's family is there right now, so that's why it's super important to us to do this period of quarantine here. We don't want to bring it back to New Mexico, specifically to his parents.
They're in the risky age range.
The higher risk age range for sure. So that's why we decided to stay here. We do realize it is a little risky because things are shutting down. However, I think we will be able to go back to New Mexico, and we personally feel much better about that decision than we would have if we had left like a day after Sedona before things kind of broke. We would be back in New Mexico right now kind of wondering, like we would worry that we had been like asymptomatic carriers or something.
Yeah. This way we can pretty comfortably go back and say, we have been self-isolating, we haven't really been around other people. If we had it, we were asymptomatic. If we didn't have it, we don't have it. So now we feel comfortable being around my family and you know, making sure that we're not exposing them unawares.
Exactly. Probably wondering, what is that gonna mean for videos in the future?
Pretty much all of our races, at least through April, and pretty much for the foreseeable future, have been either canceled or postponed.
Yeah.
And as professional mountain bike racers,
That's interesting.
that's pretty interesting. We're really fortunate in that we also have a YouTube channel, and our sponsors are super supportive and have been really cool and totally understanding about the fact that all the races are canceled and therefore we can't race. And so we're really focusing on figuring out other kinds of content, other ways that we can bring the mountain bike race experience to you guys without actually going to races, because there aren't any.
Yeah. We have a couple videos that we filmed kind of prior to everything going crazy. Those will be out next week.
At this point, Sedona also is not shut down. So while we have chosen to socially isolate and like try to stay out of stores and stuff unless we have to, like for groceries, trails are open. I have still been riding, but just being very careful. I've been riding from the house so that I'm not driving to a trailhead and hanging out at a trailhead. And when I see other users on the trail, I'm just very careful to like let them know I'm behind them and let them get out of the way or get out of the way for them so that I'm staying outside of that 6-foot bubble.
We're obviously gonna respect the rules of where we are. I do think there's a lot to be said for getting fresh air, getting some exercise, and obviously for us, like that is kind of the job as well. So
well, and we want to be able to continue bringing content to you guys. Like for people who are in lockdown, if we can provide some entertainment, if we can provide a video that will like help get through this time, like we want to be able to do that. So we're trying to figure out that balance of riding responsibly, creating content responsibly, but also not taking undue risks and making sure that we aren't exposing anybody or being exposed ourselves.
Exactly. We do have some ideas for cool content that we can do if it does come to a point where riding outside is not okay or riding on trails is not okay. At this point, kind of just playing it by ear because we don't know what's going to happen.
This is new for all of us.
So definitely, like if you have ideas for kind of content that you wanted to see in this channel, maybe you've suggested it before, but we've been so busy doing race videos that we haven't gotten to it, please leave those suggestions. We have some ideas that I think you guys would be pretty excited about, but it's always good to know like what might be helpful for you that we could do in these circumstances. Really like to encourage all of you guys to just focus on what you can do. Act as if you have this virus, make good decisions. If you are riding, ride responsibly, don't be dumb.
Follow your local rules, regulations, laws. If you can ride, just be smart about it.
Yeah. So on that note, be smart, be safe, be more awesome. We'll see you next week.